I'm okay. Hey, y'all. Come on, let's give God some praise and some glory, because it was a beautiful day, wasn't it? Excellent day. I know. Did you make a joyful noise when you came into the door? Make a joyful noise. We're so wonderful. I love you, GAC family. You what's up? Okay, thank you. I know you were looking for our bishop. Our bishop, man, what an awesome man of God. I was just in his office, and it just seemed so strange being in his office instead of being here. Come on up, Vira. So we got the call, y'all. And we're up here for two reasons. One reason is found in Ephesians. I'll be reading to myself. I want you to look it up. Ephesians 4:11 through 13. I want you to look that up. I recite it a lot. I might mess it up tonight. But it talks about the fivefold ministry. It talks about the government of the church. Paul is the one who talked to us about the fivefold ministry. After the Lord had descended and ascended and went on back home, he left the apostles to teach us. And Paul was a phenomenal man. So he talked about how the church is supposed to reach out to people like themselves, and we're supposed to talk to them about living a holy life. And so we needed to just get hold to this, the government of the church and how it works. It says that, and it gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, that we should come together. I'm kind of filling in now in the unity of the faith, of the knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, to be a perfect man. He was a perfect man, the measure of and the stature of. So we are here because our bishop is all of that, isn't he? He's an apostle. He is a prophet. He is an evangelist. He is a pastor. He is a teacher. We're not supposed to let him do all of this. So we are here tonight, Vira and I, as teachers, to give him a break. To give him a break. He and Pastor Lenny, P. Lenny, to give her a break too. We need to let him know that we can carry on, that grace will carry on. And it starts with our young people. It starts with our mothers. It starts with the wives. It starts with our children. And so tonight, we're going to talk to you about beautiful mothers that we have in the church, beautiful wives, and our children. And it's just some suggestions that we want to give you. You know, we know you're great mothers. You know, you wouldn't be here in the church if you weren't. But there's some things that you can learn and that you can follow. And I asked God to give me what he wanted me to have. And I said, Lord, what is it? And he said, Proverbs 22:6. Look that up. Read it to me back. I want the whole church to read. If you got a Bible, if you have your phone, read that to me, what it says. Proverbs, I'll direct you like I did the choir. Okay. 22:6. 1, 2, 3, go. Wow. Did you hear that? Do you know some people have different thoughts about that? Some people think it's a precious promotion. And some others think that it is a warning. But no matter how you think, it's the wisdom of God. It's a godly principle that we have to follow. Now, Vira's going to talk to you guys about mothers and wives, and I'm going to talk a little bit about children. And I brought my deputies with me because I think that my deputies, I watched them grow, and I've watched them work things out. They're just phenomenal young women. But one of the other reasons that I think Bishop called us and asked us that is that you guys know that I am from a family of 16 children, mother and father. Had the same children together, no outside kids. We grew up like that. And on the other hand, Vira's parents had one child, which was Vira. And when Vira and I get together, I mean, all of you guys are my family. I just love y'all. Y'all know I know y'all like y'all know me. And I don't want to leave you out. But tonight it's about Vira. And she was an adopted only child. But Vira, on first Saturdays, and keep time for me, Betty, okay? Because it's all about the children, and they need to learn how to be loved and shown love. And that means scheduling them. We're going to talk about schedules for our children and our parents. But take me back to Vira comes over on the first Saturday of the month, and I fix her and me grits, biscuits, bacon, sausage, coffee. We just get down. What kind of coffee? Sister Barlow. I want to give honor to my first lady. This is my first lady. Give honor to her. She is phenomenal. She is phenomenal. Down to earth. And I want to also, I'm glad she's standing too, because I want to give honor to this woman here. This woman takes care of this woman, and this woman takes care of our bishop. So I just want to I learned a lot while I was growing up. You know, you give honor to those whose honor is due. But back to Vira and I, when we get through, she comes for breakfast, but sometimes she don't leave till like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. It just goes on into the next thing. But we talk about how we grew up and our parents. We could almost say that our parents were related because of the way that they raised us. They raised us to know the Word of God. We had times where we had breakfast, lunch. I won't say times, all the time. We ate food together. Somebody wasn't in the living room on the couch or in the bathroom eating or whatever, bedrooms. We ate our meals together. And I raised Coco and Lashell to do that. If they had a snow day, get up, let's eat breakfast together. Because you learn so much about your kids when they're sitting with you at the table with you. I know I look at a lot of black and white films like Andy Griffith and like The Beaver, even though they never showed us in those. But still, it was the principles. The principles of, it's better than Megan Thee Stallion and what's the other girl's name? You know, our kids are they're learning from everything. Social media, they're learning from other kids. And we have to get more in their lives. I'm looking at Corinne now. I talked to Corinne about how she reaches out and how she raises her kids, and they love her so much. And I said, Corinne, you need to go into education. You need to be an education. And she told me, this was like 2 weeks ago, and the other day she said, Maelee, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to go back to school. And she would be a great teacher, wouldn't she? Wouldn't she? A wonderful teacher. I know kids. I don't know everything about kids, but I taught and counseled for 31 years. And I would see children who would come to school who hadn't had a hug for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I would pull them in. I'm outside. I'm at my doorway, and these kids walk by, and I said, good morning, and come over here and give me a hug. Even when they said we weren't supposed to do that, I said, I don't care. You know, somebody needs to hear good morning. You look beautiful today. How are things going? I'm here if you need me. What time do I have? I'm looking at that time. You guys, I'm gonna have. I could say more, but I don't want to do that. I want to call up my troop. I'm gonna call up Miss Nicole Constance Crawford. I'm going to also call up Miss Lashell Christina Johnson. And I'm going to also call up Mrs. Candice Nicole, not Nicole, Nicole Moore. God has given me these wonderful daughters. I know she's got a mother. I know that. But she and I have a relation. So it is about relationships. We have a very close relationship. You can learn stuff from young people. Okay? Christina Lashell Johnson, my daughter, who God brought her into my life. She needed me, I needed her. She needed Coco, Coco needed her. And this is my little Coco, Miss Crawford. I watch them do things that I want them to share with you, young mothers, wives. You're the ones who Bishop just, it makes him youthful. It keeps him youthful. It keeps me youthful. I'm not going to tell y'all how old I am because y'all going to say, what? You need to be wearing this, or you need to be doing this, and you need to be doing that. Won't they, Lisa? Lisa and Keith. I love you guys. I've watched them. I've watched her teach a 2-year-old how to read. I've watched her as a behavioral specialist teach kids who would be in prison or who would not know how to respond to anybody. Teach them, cook for them, give them stuff. She's a giver. This one, oh my God, who went through so much, from being having an only child, London, to having 4 children. 4 children. Cyrus, Kingston, London, and Holland. And I could have Dre up here, but I'm not. That's another story, man. That's another story. So I'm going to let Nicole start out, young mothers and wives, to just tell you how she raised Jackson. And, Jackson can have some issues that they're working out. But Jackson is a very, very talented young man, very talented. And like Per Bailey said, I love that little boy. But I'm going to let her talk to you about just some suggestions. I'm not saying we got all the answers or anything, but I don't believe in coincidences, and I know that God had us here for a reason. Okay? All right. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everyone. It's different talking to you all as opposed to singing. I'm used to that. That's easy for me. This is a little bit different. So the one thing that I can tell you all, and especially mothers, whether you're an experienced mother, you're a new mother, and those that are experienced could say, would probably agree with me, is you need a tribe. These ladies up here, my husband, their husbands, whenever hers comes, they are a part of our tribe. And if you don't have one, then I would highly suggest and recommend that you find one. Because those are the people who are going to assist you and be your strength when you run out. Because you will absolutely run out. I was blessed to be able, Marcus at the time was hustling and working. We had Jackson, and he said, babe, go ahead, and I got us. You can stay home. And I was able to, for the first 4 years of Jackson's life, stay home with him. And when I tell you that that was the most important time for him and raising him was for me to be in the house. We had a schedule. He would get up. It took a while to get him on the schedule, and it takes repetition. It takes you not running out of patience, because you will run out of patience. You will be frustrated. because they're babies and they're trying to figure out, you're trying to figure out their personality. They're trying to figure out your personality. But we were able to get him on a schedule. He knew when snack time was. He knew when breakfast was. He knew when lunchtime was. He knew when his nap time was. But we were able to, and I don't remember how we got it. I believe someone, and you'll have to help me there, gave us the cards for Your Baby Can Read. And when we had Jackson, yes, Sheena did. But when we had Jackson, the one thing that the doctor told Marcus said, read to him every day. Even when he was in my stomach, Marcus would be sitting there reading to my stomach. He would be talking to Jackson, telling him, we can't wait for you to get here. We are excited for you. You are a brilliant child. You are awesome. And he would sit there even when Jackson was just a baby, he would sit there with magazines, with books about football, with the newspaper, with whatever, and he would just read to him. And when I needed a break, and when Marcus was doing something else, or he was in class also at the time, then Mom would step in, and she would read to him as a baby and talk to him. And when they couldn't and they needed a break, Shell would pick up the fact. This is where your tribe comes in. This is where you need that support system. And if you want to be Superwoman and think that you can do it all on your own and you got this, more power to you, baby. But me, I needed my tribe. Because I was also going through postpartum and depression at the time. And that's where God sends you help. He always tells you he can't put more on you than you can bear. That's what your tribe is there for. But we would read to Jackson any chance we got. We would play music for him any chance we got. And so Sheena blessed us with just the cards for the Your Baby Can Read. And then we ended up buying it. And he had a set time every day where we played a video for him. We even had a system called Muzzy, which was foreign language. So it had songs and words in Spanish, in French, Chinese, and German, And we would play one video for the Your Baby Can Read, and we would play the other video for Muzzy. And he would just, because it incorporated color and activity and just their sensory senses, the sight and their hearing. But again, he was on a schedule. So if you don't hear anything else, put your child on the schedule and stick to it. Because if they're on a schedule, that then gives you time, moms, dads, to do what you need to do. If they know that for the 2 hours that they're home with you on that snow day, it's quiet time, they need to be reading and sitting still, then that's what they adhere to. If they can sit still at home, they can sit still at church. You wouldn't have all the running around that we see in restaurants. I know y'all know those kids running around, jumping off of stuff, and you sitting there looking at the parent like, you want me to snatch them? Or you going to do it? Because I can help you. If you really want the help, I can help you. Because I can fix that in about 2 seconds. But that's what we did with Jack. And there were cards. And it started off being memory. It started off being, he memorized things. Yeah, he did. He thought it was a game because we made it fun. When he got a correct answer, he got the praise, the adulation that our children are asking for. Truly, this is what our children are looking for from us. They're not looking to hear, oh, I got to do this again. Why do I have to go back up to your school again? Oh my gosh. Why every time you got to ask me for money for something, every time this. If they always hear you complain about things that they're doing, they want us to be excited, parents, about what they're doing. But with Jackson, we played the Your Baby Can Read. We played the Muzzy. We made it a game. And that in turn turned into him reading the menu at Village Inn at he's 2 years old, being in a school and being in the first, skipping ahead, being in kindergarten and being bored out of his mind, and Crystal recognizing the fact that he shouldn't be in kindergarten, getting him tested, moving him to the first grade, him being in the first grade, reading fourth grade, third and fourth grade level books. What it turned is it was time spent with him. So get a tribe that you trust. I'm not saying whoever that is, people that you trust that you know will back you up. And spend time with your children, read to them, and praise them. Because that in turn will then filter down into as they grow up. Then they'll be that respectful child. They will ask you how you're doing. They'll check on you in your old age. They'll figure out. They'll care about you because you gave them care.
Thank you, Coco. We also prayed over him and prayed for him. He had jaundice when he came home. Vira and Tracy made food and sent food and stuff. But they have to have that prayerful, that spiritual. There's our Pastor Lenny coming in. No, give honor where honor's due. This woman is a phenomenal woman. She teaches us about our history, church history, and that's what you want to learn, people. Learn your church history, then you'll know what your responsibility is when you're in church. It's to give her a break and to give Bishop a break. And I'm not one who likes to teach. She knows that. But hey, God has done too much for me, and I owe him so much for what he's done for me. And so I had to give her that honor like she deserves it. This is Lashell, who's going to talk to you also about management, time management, and schedules.
Good evening. How's everyone doing? Good. So, but prior to me being the realtor that you know I am, I was also an educator, a behavior specialist between Boys Town for about 10 years and for Omaha Public Schools for 7 years. So I am a trained behavior specialist. I, at Boys Town, was in what you call the respite home, where I had at sometimes 16 boys between the ages of 8 to sometimes 20, depending upon where they were within the system. And so what we had to do was a lot of behavior modification, a lot of social skill training on simple things as learning how to follow instructions. And so those of you who are familiar with Boys Town, it's you look at the person, say okay, do what you've been asked to do, and you check back. Very simple. We did it in a way to where there's no emotion with it. It's just boom, boom, boom. And I was the queen of lighten up your point card if I didn't hear them things. And I'm cooking at the same time. I'm a full-time college student, full-time job, and I have a room full of 16 boys where I am teaching them how to behave. I had a team of people, and I guess I got so good at it that when I graduated from college in 2005, OPS called me Christmas Eve and says, we are starting a pilot program for Northwest High School, Benson, and Bryan, and can you and a couple of your friends head up what we call the Student Success Center, where we have to help with the truancy rate that is still going on within the school districts around the city, because kids are being disciplined and suspended, moved out of the building. As a result, they're not learning. And if it's for something as simple as behavior issues, let them have a spot in the building or on the campus where they can go and learn how to not blow up a classroom, how to sit and learn algebra and math and whatever the case may be. So when I first arrived, my principal at the time said, Lashell, we want you to go and just kind of observe the building for about a good month or so. So I observed some classrooms, and I found that even professional people with college degrees had no classroom management skills at all. It's just like you've got one person who's teaching the class, and you've got about, 30, 32 kids in the classroom, all different levels of skill sets, behaviors. You know, you got some kids that should be in honors classes, and you have the kids that are in the BD class, and they're all in one room, and it's just not cool. And so I've sat in on SAT meetings with parents before. I've sat in with administration before. I was a part of the administrative team. So I did a lot of observation. And so I finally came and told my principal, I said, here's what's going on. If you don't find a way to bridge the gap between the student body, their parents, and the teachers, we have a problem. Because a lot of times you have, just due to education and how our student loans are set up, we have those little things where, you know, if you teach in an inner city school, then, you know, people help maybe forgive your loans over time, which a lot of them don't really see that. But at the same time, if you have people going home to their suburban dinner tables talking about the inner city school kids as if it's a problem over here and not their problem, those kids feel it. And the reason why we're talking about this, no, I'm not a parent yet, but I have parented a lot of kids since I was 8 years old. I changed my first diaper when I was 8. I stayed home with my first kid by myself when I was 8, 1988. I could barely see over the countertop. I was teaching kids when I was in 3rd grade, okay? Many of them, including in my own family. So as a result, they call me Baby Whisperer for a reason. I've been doing this a long time, even though they're not my kids, but it was my responsibility. So with that being said, I have talked to parents before. You have to figure out when you come from a place of chaos and you're going to a school establishment, which is all about order, there will be friction every time. Every time. Because at school, this is the rule. We got to go to class at this time. We got to do this. We have homework here, here, and here. And you're at home and you have nothing to do. No one's policing you. No one's telling you this is what time dinner is. This is what time we go to bed. This is what time we do homework. Here's fun. We don't have people that are engaging at home. And a lot of times it's because we have single parents who are working, trying to keep the house afloat. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot for people who are married and you just have one kid. But if you have a few kids at home and it's just you, it is difficult. And we came tonight to empower parents. You have to, first of all, take a step back and look at what is the focus and the goal. Especially for your older kids. Little kids are one thing. My sister talked about that. I'm a Sunday school teacher here at Grace Apostolic. I have the 5th through 8th grade class. Trust me, my kids have a lot to talk about. A lot. They have a lot of questions. We talk about sex. We talk about how you grew up. We talk about how you're feeling at school. What kid did what at school? How do you feel about that? We talk about a lot and bring it back to the Word of God because they see a lot. And sometimes we have so many goals as parents that we don't know how to organize those goals. Sometimes we should have a one-track mind on some things in order to stay focused. Like, we have so many ideas out here, and we haven't brought anything to fruition. And in a way, it teaches our kids to not finish something. Because we have this, and this. We have all this stuff over here, but we haven't finished. And we have to teach them how to execute, not only deliver, but execute what has to be done. For example, when we talk about time, we thank God for the habits that we have to come to the house of God during the week. And that's fantastic. And this is for all of us in here. How much time do we give to the Lord outside of the house of God? How important is it that we teach our kids in the Word of God? Do we sit down with them, not just reading, but do we read the Word of God to them where they can study it and you be able to have them articulate the Word for themselves to you? Because it kind of is a monkey see, monkey do. What kind of monkey do you want to be? And I hate to say it like that, but we do lead by example. They don't go on what we're saying. They're going on what we're doing. Yes. First and foremost, it has to be about the Word of God. That's why we're all assembled here today.
And I'm here because we talk like this, okay? Do you know that even infants have a propensity for being evil? You can change their diapers. You can feed them. You can love on them. And they'll still cry like crazy. Because why? Because we're born in sin. Adam did that to us. And so we have to include the spiritual. We have to. That's who we are anyway. That's why we come to church. That's why we're here. And we have to take advantage of that. But we have to first, in my Sunday school, I love it. I love it because I'm Jesus' cousin. All I do is sit home now that I'm retired and read the Bible. And I love it because you know what? Deep down inside, it's real like that because I ask God everything. And when he gives me a word, when he gives me something that I need to say or somebody that I need to call, I do it. If I find out I'm wrong, I was like, Lord, I'm sorry. I guess I'll let the enemy use me, and I'm wrong on that. But most times it's not. Most times it's not. Lashell.
So that's very important. First and foremost, is what type of time do we invest in our children for the Word of God? We have to literally think about that. My brother Marcus used to sing a song called "You Have to Humble Yourself," and he talked about how we have no time for Jesus. We have time for work. We have time for sports. We have time for dance practice, whatever we want to make time for. And as a result, we have become reactive with God instead of proactive with God. Mm-hmm. That's right. You know, we only come to Jesus because, okay, here's a problem, here's a fire that he's got to put out. But we haven't spent any time planting the heavens. No time in prayer, teaching our kids how to pray. Like on Sunday, I had Trey. I said, Trey, I need you to pray. Everybody lock hands, hold hands. Your son can pray, Janielle and Brian. I want you to know that. He on the spot. Come on, give him a hand. He can pray. Yes, you know, he may have looked at me like he was funny, but that child can really pray. We have to teach our kids about praise and worship. We have to have time to do that. If they don't see us doing it in the home, they're not going to do it here.
And it's going to be hard, even harder for them because, you know, they run up against bullies. They run up against kids who are being taught that it's okay to be in love. If you're a man, to be in love with a man, or if you're a woman and you're in love with a woman. They get all of that. And they have to have a word to encourage themselves, and then enough strength and some boldness to tell that kid, no, I don't believe in that. You're a good person. I'm not trying to knock you down for being the person that you are, a human being, and I don't have anything against you as a human being, but that's not what God said. They got to be able to do that. This thing with my beautiful, I love my Sunday school class, but this didn't start when I was up there. It started when they called me a holy roller. Who is she? She don't have no boyfriend? No, my daddy and my mom said, what? No, you're not going to have no boyfriend. So we're going to let it go to Candice. The relationship that we had, and I know that God sent her to me because she said, no matter what happens, I have chosen to live my life for God. No matter what comes, I'm here, Lord. And God, whatever you need me to do, she said, I'll do it, Lord. You are my trust. You are my everything, Lord. And we spent about, she went to Northwest. I had all these, some of y'all I had. Lana, yep. So, Erica, yep. And when I taught, being a kid from coming out of college when I was like 20 years old, I was with, Cynthia was a part of one of my groups at Benson. So, Candice, my God, and I learned so much from Candice. And with Candice, Dre will tell you, I met Dre and I was like, that's the one right there. Just had to look at him. He was looking at me like, whoa, there's something wrong with her. Okay, but I'm going to let her start. She's going to also talk to you about going from one family to having one child to having 4 children.
Okay. So, yes, having one child, the surprise 4th one. But yes, I had London, and in London, I had a schedule with London as my one child. I had a schedule with her, and I love being a mother. I do. I love being a mother. And it's just naturally in me. And so, when I was raised in London, I didn't have the, much help as Coco did at first. Her dad was, out of town. And so, I was always by myself with her. And so, but I always had a schedule with her. And so, I was in school at the time. And so, I stayed home with her for 3 years. And when she was 3, I put her in VPK a half a day, but to get the social skills that she needed. But before then, we would wake up and I would do tummy time and all that, and I would and during her nap time, I would get my chores done, and then I would do the My Baby Can Read. I had that. My mom had got it for me, And I did that, and actually London learned how to read when she was about 11 months. She could like visualize the words and everything. And so I had a schedule with London up until, she was 3 years old. And then when I got here, I'm fast forwarding. When I got here, I did it here. And when I was working so much because I was trying to start over with my life. And so when I got here, I gave Mae the schedule. And so she would watch London for me because I was broke. And so I didn't have no summer camp money. So I was the summer camp, and I made her the summer camp. And so she was the summer camp. And so she became that. And so I had a schedule for London. And so the schedule was like 8 to 9. It was breakfast, make bed, get dressed. And I said, put electronics all up. No electronics, none. And so 9 to 10:30 was reading. And then I was fortunate to have books that was on her grade level. And so it was always, if she was in first grade, I would have the second grade level. And so because the school that she was in, if she was in kindergarten, they were on first grade level. And so if she was in first grade, they were on second grade level. So I had the option, I was fortunate to get those reading and math books. And so I would have page for her, and I would say, page 156 to 160, and do 2 through 30, whatever. And so I'll do like a brain break, and then lunchtime, and then pleasure reading to let the food digest, and do math, and then arts and craft, and then I'll let her get her phone at like 4 p.m., and then she had the rest of the day. And then Friday was like a free day. And I know y'all looking at me like, did you really do this? No, I really did this. And no, I did. It did. It worked. And the reason why I did that is because I did not want her to be on her iPad all day.
Right.
I did not want her to be on her iPad all day. And
because she would have.
She would have.
She would have been on it.
She would have. And I wanted her to learn. The first couple of days when she didn't have a schedule, I was frustrated, and she was frustrated. And so I was like Sister Barlow with Lil Man. Till she got used to him. But after London followed the schedule, she would just be like, what? I was like, hey, it's not 9 o'clock yet. So, and she would color. She's just so artistic. You find out so much about your kids when you have them on a schedule, what they like, what they don't like, and, and promote those things that they like, and all these talents will just come out. So that worked for London, and it worked for me, okay? The reason why we're doing a schedule here, and I'm going to give it back to you, Candice, but our children are getting ready to go back to school. And one thing that really hurt me as a child was that we would be in church till 10 o'clock, sometimes 11 o'clock. And we had all them kids couldn't get in one car, so the bigger kids had to walk. And we walked from church to home. And I've always been a studious person, and I would stay up even later because I was going to get my homework done. I was not going to go in class and not have my homework. It just made you just, when you're hungry, you get hungry at night. And when you, it just makes you mean. It just makes you mean. And when you're not able to do what. So we're probably gonna have to talk to the leadership here because parents have to bring their children to church. But when they're here so long, they get, irritated, and they get restless.
and they are messed up. And so we want to hopefully be out of here by between 8:15 and 8:20. I know school hasn't started yet, but, you know, you have to start them on that journey. Right? Okay. Candice?
So I had her on a schedule, and so I'm fast forwarding it. And so I'm fast forwarding, and then I met Leandre. And so we were going out. I think we went somewhere, and he was like, he was on the phone, and we were on the phone, and he said something. He was like, yeah, because, you know, okay, I got it with the boys. The boys, you know, they take their bath at 8:30 and something. And I was like, oh, they got a schedule. Okay, we might work, you know. So I was like, all right, okay, you got a schedule. All right, I hear you. So, you know, so I'm listening. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'm sorry, that's just one thing. You got me decent and in order, you know. But anyway, so I'm just, you know, so we're just fast forwarding. But so I'm fast forwarding. So, you know, now that my kids, like all my kids, were together and so married, so we have a schedule, okay, and we stick to that schedule, and as of now we have a schedule, and so it's just consistency, and my boys know, my daughter knows, and Holland knows. And Holland knows bath time is at 7. And so everybody knows bath time is at 7. My mom, she's like, I'm going to come over and see Holland. I know you about to give her a bath, you know. It's about to be 7 o'clock, you know. But it's just for me. It's for my husband, and it's for the whole house. And so I shut my house down at a certain time. Don't come to my door. So, you know. You know, that's just how it is. I mean, you come to my door and I don't know it, you will be out there. And so that's just how it is. And so, but no, it's a schedule, and it keeps my kids on a schedule, and just like the schedule that I had London on in the summertime, I had my other kids on in the summertime. And so we'll have a word, like that day I'll pick a word and I'll say, hey, the word for the day is decorum. Okay, I want to know what that word means. I want you to do a sentence, and I want to have a paragraph about it by the time, you know. And so, I mean, even when Zoe came over, Zoe's like, what I got to do? And so Zoe, and all the papers are on the counter, on the table when I get home. And they read them to me, and they let me know what it means. And, you know, they read their paragraph to me. And it's just, you know, kids, they like to learn. They do like to learn. I mean, you know, they do like it. And so it's just, it's in the summertime, but they still need to learn. You know, it's okay. You know, it's just, and I guess that's just the teacher in me. So, but yeah, I do have them on a schedule even in the summertime, and it's all of them. And so we learn a word. We read a book. I pick a book for them to read, and they tell me about the book, you know, and then, but that's just what we do. And so, you know, it works for us.
All right, good. Thank you, guys. How many parents have schedules for their children? Okay. Well, like I said, it was throwing out some ideas, you know. If you try to schedule, I'm telling you, when I even was at Creighton as a counselor, I had graduate school students and undergrad students coming to me and say, could you help me with a schedule? And when I helped them with that schedule, their grades got better. Because if they came back in and said, I got a D, I was like, are you following your schedule? Well, no. Well, don't come and ask me to make your schedule if you're not going to follow it. To help. Because you need that study time. You need 4 hours for one class. Okay, give my girls a hand again. Thank you, beautiful. Okay, we're going to bring Vira up now because she's going to bring in some things about moms and wives. Vira, give her a hand.
Man. Thank you, Grace family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I'm going to let my Kojic side kick in. Giving honor to God. The bishop in his absence. The first lady. Her armor bearer. The assistant pastor. Saints, friends. Sinners, if there be any.
Excuse me, time is up.
Oh, time's up. Goodbye. Okay, my time gone. Which is good. That's a great segue. That's a great segue because my piece of it is, in all honesty, 1 minute. You heard the young women sit here and talk about scheduling. You heard Sister Maelee talk about scheduling. But before, now this is my opinion, don't try to find this book in the Bible. This is coming from Vira 1:1. So don't go be, arguing with the assistant pastor. I know it's more than 66 books because Vira said it's Vira 1:1. That's not true. Okay, we'll all be on the altar and I'll be out the door. But on a serious tip, Vira 1:1. Everything we've heard tonight, based on schedule, based on training and teaching, and one of the things that my niece Coco said about Jackson, the one piece she left out was, in scheduling, I used to pick Jackson up from school. You know what Jackson would say? Gigi Vi, you been to the credit union, have you? That means we going to eat. No, seriously. Jackson would get in the car, buckle his seatbelt. Gigi Vi, you did go to the credit union. Okay. All right. So, train up a child. He's going to be a great financier one day. He might even own the credit union with my 50 cents in there. But back to the 1 minute. Everything that was said tonight from the parents, and these are all parents, Shell is a parent, it starts within. And in order to start within, we know it's 168 hours in a week. But before we get to hour number 168, we have to start with that first minute. And take 1 minute for yourself. Lana, call my name. Coco, call my name. Kwana, call my name. Pastor Linda, call my name. That gets frustrating. And if you got more than 2 children, you're in trouble. So I say that to say this, because have you ever said when somebody says something to you, just a minute? And depending on where you are in your day or in your mental day, just a minute. Come on, y'all. Now, I ain't the only one not quite saved, okay? So I'm asking tonight to take 1 minute. 1 minute for yourself. Dr. Spencer Johnson wrote the book in 1998. I thought about my assistant pastor because we read. Dr. Spencer Johnson, 1 minute for myself. And what Dr. Johnson teaches, and he says this works whether you are a saint. He didn't use the word sinner. He said unbeliever. This will work for you. Because when you take that 1 minute, it brings, and you think, what can I do in a minute? Well, see, you done lost 45 seconds trying to figure out what can you do in 1 minute. Right. So you bring in that calmness. 1 minute of calmness. You know how much trouble I got in because I didn't take that minute because I ran my mouth? Okay? 1 minute to think about. 1 minute in the morning to calm yourself. We know what we're to say in the morning. Pastor Linda's class does affirmations. Pastor KT's class does something else. Our pastor gave us something else to do. But take that 1 minute. 1 minute of stillness. Just one. Shut everything out. And you know I like to shop. You see I got on 712. I got a whole wardrobe full of 712. So you know I love to shop. I have to lay that shop down and take that 1 minute for myself. That 1 minute. And when we talk about how much time we give God, do we give him a solid 1 minute? How many people can actually sit quiet and not move for 1 minute, me included? 1 minute. Just one. And that summarizes everything that these ladies have said tonight. 1 minute. You know, and I thought about when Pastor was teaching Sunday about Daniel, and he said he would like to cultivate a Daniel wife. And as I was walking down the hallway and thinking about Daniel and how he prayed 3 times a day and looked toward Jerusalem, his window, and I got a chuckle because I said, Miss Daniel probably said, look, now I ain't cleaning that window no more. You done prayed twice, you got fingerprints all over the window. But I say that humorously, but Pastor means that. And when we think about him wanting to cultivate a wife for Daniel, when we think about Ruth, when we think about Esther, when we think about the Proverbs 31 woman, when we think about Priscilla with Aquila, think about Jesus' mother, all these women, I believe, somewhere in their lives, took 1 minute for themselves. And I thank you for listening to me. My time is up, and I thank you for yours.
Come on, Vira. She's so sweet. So sweet. Come on. Hopefully we have given you some ideas. I love the tribe. You have to. I think most of us take care of each other in here. You know, I see Lana and Michelle and Simona together, and I see Deborah and Deborah Barlow. I call her Deborah, and the other Deborah and Cynthia and me and Vira. We just hang out. You know, we have a good time together. And I see P. Lenny with all her tribe, her children. They didn't go over and help her move that day, but they'll be helping. and Karen and Chaz and Janya. I don't like calling names because I always miss out on somebody. And we got another baby whisperer with my girl who brings the water up to me. So, Rhea Boo, she's another baby whisperer too. I'm saying this to say that it's so much talent. We have so much talent at Grace. we could get our tribe. You know, I'm so proud that God brought me here. You know, Shaquita and what she does, and Brenda, and Yulea, and Bo, and just so many of you. If I leave out your name, just don't put it to my head, not to my heart, okay? Because I love each and every one of you. But tonight, we thank for getting your tribe, and for Lashell talking about. Did you guys know that about Lashell, that she was at Boys Town for that long? I mean, they were after Shell to come and work in the schools, and she got people jobs with doing that. And Candice, oh my God, who worked like while she was going through what she was going through. She got 2 degrees in 1 year. Matter of fact, she's got a scholarship, and they're putting her through. She's going through advanced classes, and they're speeding up her classes because she'll be teaching kids in the next year. She's going to be a teacher. And she told me, she goes, "Mom, I want to honor you, but I'm going to be a counselor too, you know." So Grace, this is the best family that I've been in as an adult, you know. And I really thank you. And no, I'm not a P. Lenny. She intimidates me with her teaching class. And, you know, our bishop is just so, woo, he's just so off the chain. But he's off the chain because he's got a Deborah Barlow, and who's been with him through everything, thick and thin, believe me. And man, I haven't forgotten you. Your turn is going to come. You are wonderful men of God, and we appreciate you so much.